Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here on DarkAvengerINCPlus, where today I'm doing an in-depth review of Superior Spider-Man number 6. This is kind of a one-shot filler lead into the next story arc type of issue. Pretty much what happens is that two let's say sea-level villains, Jester and Speedball. No wait, not Speedball, it's Screwball. Sorry, it's Screwball, not Speedball is an entirely different superhero. Screwball is one of the villains in this story. Okay, just to correct myself. Anyways, when I say sea level, they're not really big bad guys. In fact, all they do in this issue is just post videos on their website pulling pranks on famous people. And in this issue, they choose Mayor J. Jonah Jameson. And needless to say, what they do is first they throw a pie in his face while he's giving a press conference, and then they pants him. They put it online and everyone laughs, and this gets Jonah mad, so he gets the Superior Spider-Man to help him out and find them. But of course, Superior Spidey, or Otto, says this isn't really worth my time. But when Jameson starts bringing up all the other times that Spider-Man kind of bullied him and made him a fool, you know, it kind of triggers Otto's memories about when Spider-Man would also mess with him, so he would just say, so then he instantly agrees to help Jonah out. And apparently throughout this issue we learned that, like Peter Parker, Otto Octavius had problems growing up with bullies who were always picking on him and they smashed his glasses, that sort of thing, except Peter over time learned to forgive and forget, as they say. Otto, however, not so much. And I'm not and before I get into what he does with Jester and Screwball, let me say that before heading out to find them, he stops at ESU to meet with his tutor, Anna Marie, and she gets picked on by these two frat boys for being a little person. And of course, right when Otto leaves to go on patrol, he goes and he grabs them and he smashes them into, well, he pretty much throws them in the trunk of one of the dude's cars, and he crushes the car. And later everyone finds out about it and they're all shocked. But anyways, back to the main point. What happens with Jester and Screwball is, well, right when Otto finds him, it looks like he's making quick work of them, but then suddenly they start like throwing paint balloons at him, and of course they're streaming this online, so people are laughing at Spider-Man. And this does not suit well for Otto, because he does not like being laughed at. And what he does is he pretty much goes Berserker Wolverine style on them. And, okay, maybe Berserker Wolverine style isn't exactly, but it's pretty extreme. I mean, by the time you see what Otto's done to them, Jester and Screwball are just one big bloody pulp. And you get to see all the people who are watching this, the different reactions. Jonah watches, he's excited. MJ watches, she's a little worried. And the Avengers are also watching. And at first, though, we do see a little clip of them in Avengers Mansion where they're all like saying that Spider-Man's changed over the past few months, and also with the Massacre, what happened with Massacre, they decide that now's the time they should bring him in, and they start to wonder whether or not Spider-Man deserves a place in the Avengers. Wolverine then sticks up for Spider-Man and says that, you know, we've all done things we're not proud of, and right now I think Spider-Man might need the Avengers more than ever. But of course, with how he treats just a couple of, pranksters, I mean, he pretty much beats them up as if they were the Hobgoblin or Venom. It's just too extreme. And then when the Avengers see this, Wolverine tells Captain America, "Bring him in." And and again, the last page on this issue is a view of how badly beaten Jester and Screwball are, and Peter Parker's ghost sees this and he's like, "Otto, what did you do?" And that's where the issue ends. Once again, we are highlighting the similarities but differences between Peter Parker and Otto Octavius. Mostly because I'd say Otto has like a zero tolerance for how he treats criminals. Because to him, they all deserve to be beaten up, especially these guys, because they're bullies. And like I said earlier, Peter Parker also had trouble with bullies. I mean, he was picked on before he got bit by the radioactive spider, and a little bit after that, while he was still in high school. but eventually he did learn to, like, you know, forgive Flash Thompson, like, kind of move past it. Not the case with Otto. No, Otto, he doesn't forget, and now he's pretty much held in all his rage for all these years, and that's why he's wanted to destroy, probably one of the reasons why he wanted to destroy the world. But nevertheless, it shows that Otto is definitely growing more radical with his power as Spider-Man, because now he sees himself as, he doesn't just see himself as a person enforcing the law, he pretty much now sees himself as the law, I think, and he thinks that he's the only one who can pass judgment on these criminals, and that's the only reason why I think he's being so hard on them. And like I said, this issue was just like a short little one-shot type of deal that leads into the next story arc, which is going to be told in April. It takes place in Superior Spider-Man 7 and 8. It's called Fired, and it's basically going to involve Spider-Man and the Avengers. So, you know, hopefully, I personally, even though it is Otto, I hope Spider-Man does not get kicked off the Avengers, because I think he's one of Marvel's A-list heroes, and for years he wasn't even on the team. I mean, in like the first incarnation of the Avengers, Spider-Man was like a reserve member. He was barely in the book, but then afterwards, once New Avengers started and Brian Michael Bendis took over, he was featured a lot more in Avengers titles, and I hope they don't do that. I hope they don't kick him off, even if it is Otto. I kind of hope that, you know, well, they don't kick him off per se, but I hope they give him like probation or something. Like they don't kick him off the team officially. That's all I'm saying about this. And besides, at least the solicitations imply something's going to happen where Peter Parker. Besides, we all know Peter's going to come back soon. So, you know, even if Otto gets kicked off the Avengers, it is possible that Peter can redeem himself and get back on the team. So there's always that hope if worst case scenario, Spider-Man's off the Avengers. Nevertheless, I thought this was another good issue. Granted, it was a good issue, but not really it didn't enthrall me as much as the last issue with the whole Massacre story arc. I would say, nevertheless, but overall, Dan Slott's doing an amazing job on this title. It's very, very nice. I would definitely recommend it to people who want to, you know, start picking up Marvel books. I mean, this is probably the first book I can recommend to people when someone asks me, like, oh, are there any good titles by Marvel? I'll say, yeah, the Superior Spider-Man. You should definitely check that out. Still, I'm loving this title. Slott's doing an amazing job, and even though I am somewhat enjoying seeing Otto Octavius as Spider-Man, I still can't wait for Peter to return back, get back in his body and back under the mask. Especially with the whole confrontation with the Green Goblin coming up. I can't wait for that, and I hope it's Peter under the mask and not Otto. That's really all I want. Okay, well, thank you for watching my in-depth review. Thank you for subscribing to Dark Avenger Inc. Plus. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.